Let me give you an example from real life. What's the difference between a fancy home in Utah and a fancy home in California, besides $250,000? On the floor plans, the basement is labeled food storage instead of wine cellar. Why is that funny? Because for all of you, it's recognizable. How many of you grew up in a home that had a wine cellar? How many of you have been in a home that had a wine cellar? Okay. What's the difference between food storage and a wine cellar? No difference, except with the wine cellar, the stuff's allowed to go bad. Well, worse. Let me give you an example of a top 10 list type of stuff, and we're going to perform an exercise, okay? You're going to have to think now. This is, I know we said I talk, you listen, but there's going to be a little bit of interactivity here. The air here in Utah County and Salt Lake County and Cache County and a number of other inversion-prone counties has been the worst air to breathe in the United States of America. If you were going to do a top 10 list about the top 10 reasons Utah's air is blank, what do you fill the blank with? We're just coming up with a title for the top 10 list first. What do you fill the blank with? Toxic is at the very end of the garden path. That is what we all expect that sentence to end with. So we begin by subverting the expectation and saying the top 10 reasons Utah's air is awesome. Now, what do you guys know? Let's just rattle off facts. Just facts. You don't need to try to be funny. What do you guys know about the pollution problem we have?
The air can't escape.
The air can't escape. Okay. What is it that we're breathing? The carbon monoxide, particles that they call PM 2.5, things that are often very difficult to filter. What does it do to visibility?
At night it makes it harder to see.
It makes it harder to see in the day. When was the last time you were able to see the Y? Okay, you can see it today. The air cleared up. All right. If I'm trying to do a top 10 list making fun of Utah's air pollution, I'm going to start by front-loading the facts on that air pollution. Some of the things that are in it are minerals. What else has minerals? Mineral water. So top 10 reasons Utah's air is often. Take a deep breath, you don't need mineral water. Okay, that's not a great joke, but it's a start. Now you need to recognize that humor is like anything else. How many of you, out of the gate, your chapter 1 blows your writing group's socks off, and they're like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever read? You guys done that? Not yet. It'll come after you've written a couple hundred chapter 1s of different works. Don't be an eternal chapter 1 person, okay? Jokes are the same way. When you see a comedy routine and that comic is just killing. Any of you guys watch Jim Gaffigan? Yeah. I love Jim Gaffigan. Mostly clean, always hilarious, quirky sort of style. How rehearsed do you suppose that material is? It looks spontaneous. It looks like he's reacting to the audience, but let's face it, he knows every word he's going to say. He's refined that act in front of audiences, and he knows when a joke is going to kill. If the joke falls flat, he has an alternate plan for victory. That's where his little inner monologue voice comes from. If you haven't seen Jim Gaffigan, he will often talk like this, and then he kind of turns his head to the side and does a little high-pitched voice. Oh, this guy really isn't very funny. Oh, he's still talking about bacon. So Gaffigan does that as, what he's trying to do is give voice to the audience's thoughts on his work. This is all elaborately rehearsed, very, very practiced. So, my first stab at a joke, you don't need mineral water. Okay, one of the 40 people in the room laughed. Not a great hit rate. I would probably want to rewrite that joke. The joke that I was telling the other day about the air is that it's awesome because you no longer need an air filter. Just tie a fork to the end of the string and wave it around over your head. On Scott Adams' list, that qualifies as bizarre. Because, I mean, how much is that really science? How much is that really going to pick up? I don't know, but after 4 swings, I just scrape the string off and tastes like vitamins. Sorry, I made myself thirsty. The Scott Adams list, I don't find it particularly useful for creating a joke. I find it fantastically useful for refining a joke. Look at something you've written and ask yourself why it does or doesn't work. You do that with your other writing, right? When somebody tells you, oh, this character, this doesn't sound like it's in character for this person. Well, why doesn't it sound like it's in character for this person? You have to answer that question. You have that person's character up here in your head. Jokes are the same way. Why isn't this joke playing? Why isn't this funny? What's missing from it? Oh, what's missing from it, and this actually happens to me a lot, what's missing from it is a critical element like, say, recognizable. Have any of you ever told jokes that were like very niche specific sorts of jokes that half the people in the room didn't get? I was a music major here at BYU, and I know all of the musical instrument jokes, all of them, and I can make up new ones at the drop of a hat because I know which ones work and which ones don't. What's the difference between a clarinet and an onion? All right, now stop. Think about onion for a moment. I don't want you to laugh at the joke. I want you to dissect the joke before I've given you the punchline. Think about onion for a moment. What do we know about onions? They make you cry.
It's made up of like layers.
Layers. When does it make you cry?
When you cut it.
Do we have a punchline yet? Nobody cries when you chop a clarinet into little pieces. Oh, see how that works? Has Brandon talked to you a little bit about merging the strange and the familiar? What am I talking about? It's like he has. How many weeks have you guys had this class? It's like session 3.
This is our 3rd week.
Oh man, wow! Straight off the diving board into the stupid end. Sorry about that. Usually Brandon doesn't invite us in until later in the term when you've had more opportunities to know what he wants you to know. Another of the musical instrument jokes, and this one's one of my favorites. I got to use this at Dragon's Keep just the other day when I met a BYU student who said she was performing in Les Mis in the orchestra pit. Oh, that's awesome. What do you play? I play viola. I love the viola. Did you know that violas and violins are actually exactly the same size? She goes, no, they're not. Violas are bigger. Optical illusion. Viola players just have very small heads. Yes, I'm a jerk. Okay?